My name is Patrick. You're watching Patchworks. This is the part of the video where I let you know that I messed up the audio. So today we're going to be harvesting onions. Now if you look over here, we have red onions and white onions on the right. Now when the necks fall over and break like this, it's a little hard to see here. That's how you know the onions are done. So the white onions, about half, maybe a little more, have fallen over, so they're ready to be harvested. And the red onions probably could have lasted about another week before they were done growing, but because I'm pulling the white onions, we're going to be pulling the red onions as well. And these red onions and white onions, they were kind of plant and forget. Clearly there's a weed problem going on, which we're going to address in a later video, but this is what they look like. So right here, when the necks fall over like that, that's how you know they're done. And this is what the onions actually look like up close. So you can see about 50% of the onion out of the ground. And you want to make sure you can. If you plant your onions too deep, it's going to hinder their development. They're going to stay small and they're not going to get as big. So make sure you're planting them at the right depth. And then if you look back further in the patch, those are the same exact onions planted at the same time, the same way, but they are significantly smaller. I'm not sure if it's a combination of less light or less water reaching them because the sprinkler is set up on the other side, but for whatever reason they just didn't grow as big as the rest. And the rest did grow pretty big, as you can see right there. Now I'm using the trowel to lift these. I was a little nervous, but it was really unnecessary. You could have just pulled them with my hand. Now right here, you gotta pay attention when you're harvesting your onions if they flower. They generally flower on their second year in the ground. Now I ordered these as shoots, and sometimes with shoots, what happens is they start them from seed, put them in cold storage, and then ship them to you. And in that cold storage, sometimes those onions think they're going over a winter, which means they have a higher likelihood of flowering when you actually go ahead and plant them. And of the about 150-ish onions that I planted, we had only 2 that flowered. So I've heard some things on the internet about being cautious. We got these from Johnny Selected Seeds, only 2 of which flowered out of 150-ish maybe, so I'd say that's a pretty good deal. But as you see right here, it has no effect on the development of the onion itself, but the onions won't cure. So that's why you need to pay attention. The onions won't be able to cure, they won't store. The flower starts from the center of the onion, and when we go put these downstairs to dry out, for whatever reason, if they have flowered, they just won't dry out and cure properly. They'll rot from the inside out. So that's why you have to pay attention to whether or not your onions have flowered. And guys, this is what the onions are looking like, at least on this side of the garden. Those are full-sized onions. I mean, I'm so excited by this. The onions were really just plant and forget. Going forward, I'd probably plant them in plastic tarp to have to mitigate this weed situation, but they really were plant and forget. If I could only plant one crop, it might be onions. It's between onions or tomatoes. I mean, they were really, I can't believe how many we got here, and I'll show you in a bit just how many. Now right here I am pulling that second flowered onion. I'm going to move it out to its own separate pile because, like I said earlier, we do need to separate the flowered onions so that we don't try to cure them with the rest, because they won't, they'll just go bad. So we're just going to bring these upstairs, the flowered ones, and we'll just eat those first. And if you really needed to store them, you couldn't eat those onions right now, you could always do something like pickle them or can them, and then they'd store fine. But you just can't cure them and dry them out like the other ones, and that's me. And look, it's a fully developed onion there. It just won't dry out like the rest. And I really am doing a little much using this trowel here. You really don't need to do that. From what I learned later in this video, if you just grab firmly at the base of the onion, the neck's not going to rip. Now you want to try to not rip the neck. They won't dry out properly. They'll dry out a little bit too much. If you cut the neck, you want them to dry with the green still on it. So, you know, I would not suggest using a trowel like I did with the potatoes. You can really pull these up by hand. It's going to save you a whole bunch of time. Then we're just going to go ahead and speed run the rest of these onions. Now, like I said earlier in the video, these onions closer to us now were significantly shorter. For whatever reason, I don't think they were getting as much water the way I have my sprinkler set up. and I think they get a little bit less light. Maybe they didn't have as much stuff going on in the soil, but they are significantly smaller than the other onions. That being said, they still did extremely well here. Like, I'm really happy with how all this went. Now I'm just going back through and making sure I didn't miss any, because the weed situation again, some necks had fallen over, and I just couldn't really see them. So this is what they look like, guys. I mean, this is the smallest ones that we got. The other ones are full-sized onions. I just can't believe how great this harvest was. I'm really happy about all of this. I can't say it enough. And this right here is what it looks like. So these were the Patterson onions. Again, we got them from Johnny's Selected Seeds. So for about 1 unit of the Patterson onion and 1 unit of the Red Wing onions, which are the red onions we got, 1 unit has 50 in them each. It came out to $45 total for 100 plants of onions. Now, that being said, they gave way more than 50 in each, especially for those Red Wings. We got way more than 50 little seedlings to start off with. So I am really happy with this. We're gonna go ahead and bring this down into the basement. And it is right about here when I discovered that my audio was not working for this first part. So it's gonna go ahead and turn on. And let me tell you, trying to put this wheelbarrow down the stairs like I did was sketchy. I don't know what I was thinking. I probably should have just asked my wife to help me out, but I almost spilled all of them out onto my very dirty basement floor. We're back, and I apologize. I think I might have realized that my microphone was off for the whole first half of this video. So, here I am. And I was thinking we could just lean them like this, or like I've seen elsewhere, we could feed them down like that. But I feel like that's going to take up more. So, I'm just going to see if I can get away with resting them upright. We'll see. Oh no! Or the leaves will rest on them like this. Like this. That's what I need to do. And I have a little fan here too. Now I know you don't want them touching like the onions themselves, but I think this will be fine. I think it would be better to probably hang these, but I'm just strapped for space. Actually, this can be hotter than the potatoes can, but in a dark and dry environment, which my basement is very dark and very dry. Got a dehumidifier running 24/7. Now I'm interested to see how these smaller onions cure, or if they cure. I'm concerned that they might not cure well. I don't really know why, but these are some nice onions. Look at that. That's a whole ass onion. That's awesome. So 100 might have been a bit of an exaggeration. Maybe, I think, what did I say? Originally like 50, 60 onions maybe. I don't want to count them. I'll show you guys close up, and one of you guys can pause it, count how many onions if you're so inclined. I gotta go. We'll prop these ones up. Should have prepared a better space for these. Bloop. Let's go get those red onions. I actually have to leave in about 30 minutes, so we're just gonna speed through this one. But when I started pulling, oh wow, look at that. It's a nice red onion we got there. When we had started pulling with the white onions, I was using that trowel, and I'm not gonna do that for the red onions because it was just a whole lot easier to pull them with my hand. And I was scared about damaging them, but I'm just grabbing really low down, close to the base, and I think it's fine. A little tiny onion. There's some big red onions. Ah! I'm falling. These are nice. Oh no! I'm gonna step on this side. I don't want to accidentally step on any pumpkins, which I see one more coming up right here. We made the mistake of we planted and then didn't mark it, and came out here and kind of stepped on some of the seeds. So, majority of them sprouted. These first few didn't. we're gonna be coming back in the next video, stay tuned, and putting some black plastic tarp down to try to deal with these weeds, as well as some more fertilizer and stuff like that. Now again, these haven't fallen over, so they could probably go with another week or two in the ground, but we're pulling the onions, so we're just gonna be pulling the onions. The other onions are ready, and these pumpkins need to start taking over. Oh, really tiny end. It's so funny how like right next to each other they grow so differently. That's a big one. I guess this red onion had fallen over. Maybe some of them are starting to get ready. Now before we lay down the black plastic tarp, I'm gonna take the lawnmower and just cut this really short and then cover it with the plastic tarp. At least part of it with the plastic tarp, so that these pumpkins have some ground to themselves. Well, I can tell you guys what, I'm gonna be planting onions every year from now on. These were a blast. Now again, I'm gonna be using plastic tarp, and what I think I'm gonna do is lay down the tarp and burn a little hole every so often to plant the shoots in, to help prevent the weeds. But goodness, these were like plant and forget. If I had laid down plastic tarp and didn't have to weed, I mean, these are a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you plant onions? And they don't take up that much space. I mean, I could have planted these way closer together and, you know, potentially fit in a whole other crop. Like I could have planted these really close together. I can't believe the yield. Just incredible. Again, this is my first year planting these, and very happy. If you guys didn't watch the video when I planted these, I got these shoots from Johnny Selected Seeds. Now, some of their other stuff was pretty pricey, but I think the onions, I think maybe they were 15 bucks. For this many onions, I mean, the onions could actually last us all winter. Like that's actually a possibility. If you had like a little space and you just wanted to get as much out of one crop, onions, I think onions are the way to go. Maybe tomatoes, but onions too. Good thing about the onions is that they last all year. Now, stay tuned for later in the summer when we start canning the tomatoes and canning some of the pickles and stuff like that to help those last all year. But even still, it's not like these onions. I'm just astonished. Seems like the red onions fared a little better in terms of size. Let's see how these last ones go. Some of these didn't really grow at all. That's the onion harvest for this year. Let's go ahead and take a closer look. Well, this is the red onion harvest for this year. And this is just crazy. I mean, these onions are stacked all the way in there. It's kind of hard to tell with these shoots here. Let's see if I can pick them all up. That'd be a good thumbnail. Onions! This is the whole onion harvest. Look at it! This is crazy! I think I might need to come up with a different solution for those onions. I've seen some people do some onion drying stuff with like cattle wire fences, and I might nail some of those into the rafters in the basement and hang the onions like that. It'll only be temporary, only be for about 2 to 4 weeks, which we don't go into our basement that much, luckily. I think that's what I'm going to do. Stay tuned to see an update on the onions coming soon. Well, listen guys, that's it for today's video. I'm gonna go throw these in the basement off camera. Be on the lookout for the next video coming out where we're gonna be addressing these weeds and doing a whole kind of garden update. Be sure to subscribe and click that bell icon so you get notified when that video comes out. Thanks again for watching. If you guys got it this far, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it means a whole lot for me and the channel, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'm out.